Da 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 da. Dun 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 dun. Oh. Oh, it's just a question of now whether you can hear me. Oh my goodness. Wait a second. If this works out, it only took me 3 full months to get it together. Let me know. Can you hear me? If you can't hear me, can you hear the motorbike? Something. I'm in the blooming alley. I tried to get away from a car that was on idle. Oh, thank you, Samurai Julie-san. Oh my goodness, so you can hear that loud and clear. I can't believe it. This worked. I am shaking like a Polaroid picture. Oh, goody, you couldn't hear that motorbike. Awesome. I can't believe it. We've been doing this since April. I've been wanting to be loyal to the YouTube app. And then, oh, I cannot tell you how relieved I am. Oh, I need a breather. this is this is the best way to start a stream. You just need to collect yourself and get a breather in because the nerves have been shattering since I woke up this morning. Welcome to the 3 people that I can see that are here. It's good to have you here. Thank you for coming, considering, well, if you weren't in the live stream last week, but considering it, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so very much. Orchids by the Lake, it's good to see you. Hi. We're still in the blooming alley because I'm holding on to the door frame so I don't fall over. my legs are a little bit shaky. Thanks for joining Orchids by the Lake. A very good morning to you and Julie-san. Goodness me. No, I have to say that, wow. I hope that you eventually put me on mute and then get some rest. I hope you had a wonderful day. And Dawn Marie. Hello, Dawn Marie. It's good to see you. So I am now standing without holding on to the frame. You guys might think that is crazy, but I get myself all worked up. Anyway, this could be the confidence builder just as the live stream season for the great outdoors may be coming to an end. I'm going to have to take notes and remember for next year. Anyway, Brassicatlia amethyst, she is not the subject of conversation today. We're going to go to the east side. We've got some, actually, first of all, let me take you to the west side. Because we've got some nasty things we're going to look at. And I'm just asking the question, looking for feedback. We are on the move. And because the other orchid that has similar symptoms is on a mount. And it was given to me by Incl Orchids and ADD. I'm probably going to have to raise you up a bit. But that is not a problem, considering. Okay, so this orchid is Oncidium Sweet Sugar in the Oncidium Alliance as well. And you can see how the pseudobulbs are like bendy, shriveled, and the growths are only a fraction of the size that they should be. But this orchid got the same affliction as what the other one, the wildcat, the one we're going to be dealing with today. I just wanted to show you this because I didn't want to schlep her around and before I have to water her again. This is all minuscule scale. The orchid came to me healthy on a mount that, yes, was degrading. So, of course, in my mind, I'm thinking degrading, maybe there was an issue on the mount I didn't see when I mounted her on a fresh piece of cork. There were no issues. Everything was going well up until it wasn't going well, which was last season. And I've got these microscopic, not anymore because I'm on top of this orchid. That's why she's here, where I always come out from the west side. And, you know, at least I will always have her in my line of fire if I need to just paint a little bit with garlic alcohol. So she is clean, but she is not coming out of this affliction at all. The new growths, they're not pushing new roots. I'm really focusing on calcium nitrate, CalMag, and seaweed. Little bit of fertilizer here and there, but the first three components, they are my main focus to see if she'll push roots. You could, oh, mercy. Oh, I just said she was clean. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'm prepared. I said I was prepared. I was prepared in the blooming alley. Oh my word. These little blighters, I am telling you, with a confidence on my chest, I said she was clean because I checked her this morning. And normally I only check her once a day to be 100% sure. Huh. You see the spots? This is bad. And I can't, it seems like this little minuscule scale has some kind of toxin in it. And it just destroys it because we can deal with some scale spotting. That's not a problem, but it's not growing roots. And you can also say, well, there's not enough in the structures to grow roots. Yes, there is. I've had orchids that were even more bendier than this. Aliciara, Peggy, Ruth, Carpenter comes to mind. Much more bendy. And, this is not normal. Anyway, so that is what I want to talk to you about. And if you have any answers and suggestions in the comments, feel free to share because I'm stumped. And I was just in the blooming alley just before we started. We're on the move again. If somebody gets vertigo, I'm going to try and be as careful and slow as possible. We're going to go to the east side. If somebody has any suggestions in the comments, let me know. Comments in the chat. Oop, sorry. Oop, sorry, I'm shaking. But that's for other reasons. Okay, let's get established here. Let's get you into the line of fire to the subject at hand because we're going to be taking this orchid out of her pot and cleaning her up. We'll talk a little bit about it and see what your suggestions are. Now you, despite the fact that you're flipped, this is great. I've got you on horizontal, which is exactly what I want, but you're reversed, which is the only other little downside I would say. I'm not sitting as per the screen. It's exactly the opposite. But I'm not touching anything to flip the screen either because we're up and running and you're hearing me. If I touch something and do a mistake, things might be a little bit different. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, here's my wildcat. See, shriveled pseudobulbs. Now she came in the collection in 2018 as a rescue, didn't know what she was. And she then grew really well when I still had heat mats and I still had my lights running. And then in 2020, she became a rescue again. I believe in 2022, a rescue again. And here we are in 2024, a rescue again. But this is different because she too had the tiny little scale, as did another rescue that I have, the Voice de Chiara, Melissa Brienne. Also, last year, she came with this tiny minuscule scale. And it annoys me to no end. Not to be confused with dry conditions, spotting on the leaves. That's not it. But the shriveling of the pseudobulbs is so bizarre to me. I don't understand it. So let me see if you already have some suggestions here for me. Right, Fernanda Nacimiento. Hello to Spain, to Portugal. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for taking time. Hello from Denmark, Martin Lund. It's also good to see you. It should do well. It should do well. That's the thing. I'm stumped because yes, first of all, I'm assuming you're talking about the sweet sugar. She did come on a degraded mount, but she went right onto the new mount and didn't have any issues. Now this one is having issues again because that minuscule scale, which I was also addressing in the blooming alley with my Cattleya zip, sorry. I saw them just before we went live. They weren't there this morning, and now I've got a new growth with little white spots everywhere from the damage that they do very, very quickly. So this is this is annoying. I mean, if I lose this orchid, it's no big deal. Honestly, I've been through worse. But I have to say that why? Why, when all the time you're on top of something and it should be okay? And you can say, yeah, the leca and the evaporative cooling. Okay, I'll go with that. That is also a reason. Still doesn't answer my question about these pesky little scale that have been coming along. This is wonderful. I don't even have to make a mess. Oh, oop. Should have been a little bit more careful there. We've got roots, which is even better. But I don't have to make that big a mess with leca everywhere. That's awesome. Trust, I've been working with leca this morning. Yeah, you know what? Seeing as Halloween will be the next bigger holiday, I was actually thinking, because I saw one of my wild birds bopping around in the bowl where I had all the leca from all the orchids that I discarded, and it was filled with water just so that I wouldn't let it dry out so that I could clean it easier. And there was a bird bopping in there doing its bird bath thing, putting leca in its mouth, and I thought it was like, you know, the apple thing, the tub with the apples, you stick your head in and try and bite into apples. That's what it reminded me of. Side note. So yes, this tiny, tiny scale is really, really bothering me. Thankfully, it hasn't moved onto my Masai Red, because that is my big, big worry, that it's moving to my Oncidium types. And I don't really have that many Oncidium orchids left. My Twinkle is doing great, hasn't been affected. And I'm so happy to be able to be addressing this now because I've been so fed up. The patio gets relatively small when you've got orchids that shouldn't be in the sun. Pots are getting bigger and bigger. And I don't want these anywhere near other orchids because my Jamelia is showing signs of little white blemishes on the leaves as well. And she was clean. So this one's been living under the table where I used to have my Ridiculous Lalias during the summer. And of course, I'm not having them there. And then, well, of course, the other one is right by the door of the terrace to where the orchids are during the winter. But see? I mean, an old pseudobulb. That's fine. But these shouldn't be shriveled. They're not that old. Okay, we don't have roots in the pot. Okay, that's an answer as well. But what is it with that scale? What is going on? Is it just a thing that is happening here? I know that Stephen Van Kampen Lewis brought it to our attention about a minuscule scale in the United States or something that he's picked up on that wasn't really making its rounds years ago and suddenly is starting to make its rounds. And then we were warned here because of him bringing that to our attention, at least my attention. I don't know if anybody else can concur with that, but we were warned. So when we saw the spotting here, I know that Fernanda Nacimento also struggles with the same kind of scale. When we saw the spotting here, we kind of had our answer already. So it's made the jump. But it seems to be of a different ilk, different caliber, because while we can get rid of scale, it then doesn't go and affect all the pseudobulbs. And maybe I should have not put my phone in the line of fire there. A misty phone, maybe. Did y'all get wet? Hang on a second. Let me put you somewhere. And we have Nightbot working here as well. That's great. Yeah, okay. Now, with one piece, like I said, I'm going to go with, well, there's no roots in the pot. Of course, the pseudobulbs are shriveled, but there were roots in the pot when the pseudobulbs started shriveling, when there was white scale everywhere. So I'm not going to just settle with that. And this is not just a question that I've had today, or it dawned on me last Saturday when I knew I wanted to do this stream. That is watching this afterwards, if you have any answer, let me know if you know anything about this minuscule scale, because it is bothering me. It shouldn't take my Oncidiums out like this. But anyway, it's a wildcat. She's pretty. The only thing I would not like to do is lose this orchid, because she does bring me early blooms. As we come out of the winter, she starts to spike. I even got her to grow so big that she was branching on her spikes the way they should. And I had pseudobulbs the size of a big egg. Big egg. So, not ostrich egg, but big egg. So, you know what? I think we had her in a video before where I said, oh goody, that was neglect. The first time I put her back into rescue mode was neglect on my part, because once you rescue an orchid, you think, nailed it. She's fine. She doesn't need all the helicopter mothering going on like that. Wrong. Just because an orchid is not rescued anymore or is rescued doesn't mean we shouldn't pay attention to them. Anyway, now I have a decision to make, because this piece has no... Would you stop splashing with water everywhere with electronics? That'd be great. Thank you. This piece has no roots. So I'm going to put her into an ICU setup, which I am not prepared for. This piece can go in here. And I really didn't want two pieces anymore of this orchid. Here comes the disco music. It's like when people in the summer seem to think we want to hear what they are listening to, but oh well. Right, let's get some water and let's get this one potted up. And then I thought, if this stream goes as well as it's going, I might as well do something with my, excuse me for the jiggle, with my Aliciara Peggy Ruth Carpenter, because she's growing out of the pot, and just give her a quick up pot. That would be the plan. Now, watch something untoward happen there, because she was divided a while ago. 3 divisions were made out of a single orchid, which was awesome, but she's climbing out of her pot and is a bit of a nuisance at the moment. She is, to my understanding, she had some scale as well, but her pseudobulbs aren't affected. So is that a different scale, or what is going on? Right. Off camera, I am just making sure I have got all my kit and caboodle organized. You got that, because once I'm holding the orchid, yeah, I really didn't want 2 pieces of this. But you know what? If she makes it, if this piece makes it and the other piece makes it, then we're just going to unpot her and pot them up together again. For now, this is the best course of action. There we go. Small leca, small roots. If you're in organic media, not small roots, fine media. Doesn't matter that I'm using inorganic media. So if you prefer sphagnum moss and bark, then I feel that Oncidiums are very thirsty. No matter the size they're in, think ahead, think positive, and accommodate what you're growing towards, and give the media, at least give yourself a chance with your choice of media that suits your lifestyle as well. As in, make sure that you can keep up with watering so that they don't dry out, especially when they are in active root growth. Otherwise, you're pretty much starting a problem for the future. And I always like to think ahead in that sense and make it easy. So, fine roots, the smaller media, and that goes for organic as well. Right. There's that one. The other piece is going to go into a classic ICU setup. I'll show that in a separate video. At least we got that one out of the way, with one little exception. We need some more CalMag in the reservoir. And then I'm going to check the comments. And if you want to, hang around. We'll have a look at my Peggy. There we go. Grow. Plump up. Ow. Sorry about that. That was my right hip. Grow and plump up. Wildcat. Wild thing. Now you shouldn't be drying out. So what I'm going to do is just tip out a little bit of this water. That's too much. Sorry. Hang on a second. There we go. I'm just going to leave her. I know it looks nasty, but I'm just going to leave her like this until I get around to putting her into a little container that just has a bit of water and my hub filter material underneath. Now, normally, after dealing with an orchid that had that nasty little scale on it, I shouldn't be using the same catch tray. So why am I using the same catch tray? When I've come prepared with another catch tray and a bigger pot. Look, oh, aren't we professional? Woo! Stop it before you collapsio with the hippio. Right, let me go and check and see how y'all are doing. As long as you are keeping, and then I lose the rest of the comment. Good morning, Richard Lawton. It is good to see you. Happy Saturday to you. Oncidiums really are an adventure. Yes, that is true. Yes, as long as I'm keeping up with the scale, I would have thought, and that is why I'm so bummed about the Oncidessa, because I thought that I was right on top of it. And you know what? 12 hours later, it's like, oh, no, you're not. So now, note to self, check your Oncidessa 2 or 3 times a day, seeing as I walk by there a lot. Yes, I will straighten everything out because I can probably imagine this is most annoying to see something all tilted and weird. Funny how that works. We'll straighten it out just to make sure that people don't feel like they need to tilt their head like that. Okay. Look at this. Look at us. Wow. Okay, like I said, I'm taking notes for next year's stream. If I don't do this during the winter, I will forget, because this is great. I love it. Now, here we have my Peggy Ruth Carpenter. Peggy Ruth Carpenter, the person that hybridized this, the grower that hybridized this orchid was called Carpenter. I believe Peggy Ruth was his mom. I may be wrong, but it's a family name of the hybridizer of this orchid that has a fantastic, freshly cracked pepper smell. Now, she's been in this pot now 2 years. She's an awkward one to grow in a pot because she kind of climbs, so it's a bit of a nuisance. She is also in spike, but this orchid, if you have to address her, you address her, of course, as with every other orchid, when new roots are growing. So we're going to see if we can just pull her out like we did the other ones. No such luck. And the new roots with this one are growing while she is in spike. This, roots, at least I hope so. Aye, there we go. So I'm going to address her because I want those roots in the pot. So she had some scale as well, especially in the back here. But they're not shriveled. They don't look like they're about to die on us. So we'll deal with her as well. And I have a big stew pot full of leca to sterilize tomorrow. Oh, fun. Okay. Take that out. The roots could be much, much better in the pot. but that's okay. You see there's no stress on the pseudobulbs at all. And this is what I was talking about with the pseudobulbs we saw in the Oncidium. So the Peggy Ruth Carpenter can be as curly as an inverted C, and they will plump up after stress and look great again. The Oncidium doesn't seem to be bouncing back. Stay tuned, because I shall be updating you on her as the season goes. Because you know what I'm scared of? That orchid can't be outside during my winter months. I don't want to bring something in that has something an affliction that I cannot shift and I'm not certain about. So, oh yikes, we don't like to see dying root tips already. No bueno. Okay, into the pot you go. Woohoo! And then I have a repot week coming up of epic proportions. Because my window of opportunity is closing. So we're going to go center you a bit more. Left is right and right is left. That's great. That really, really is, it's fantastic when you do that to a dyslexic person. We're already struggling with issues about twisting things, flipping things. Give me now a screen that is the opposite of what I should be doing. It's all awesome, I'm telling you. So, but you know what? We're horizontal. I love it. I'm so happy. And we're going to do this again next week. I have no idea what we're going to do next week, but we're going to do it again. No idea. If anybody wants to do something different, I try to come up with some ideas, but if anybody says, nah, I'm bored with that, why don't we XYZ? Let me know. Because now that we've got this one figured out, and I'm just going to have to do the switcheroo in my head with regards to where to point the camera and how, we are mobile. As in, I don't also have to attach myself to a power cord. No cables. If you want to see an orchid, let me know. Let's go have a look at it. It might be a bit jiggly, but it won't be a shambles like it was last week. Okay, so bring my leca over here and get her in the pot. Because we still have another new growth right in the middle. Yeah, you too. Bye. In the middle that it has as yet to grow roots. And I do want to see that I get her a lot lower in the pot than normal. So we'll shift her around so the leaf isn't the focal point. We'll just get her in there. We're going to focus on new roots. That be her future. And you see that I'm not bothered with the fact that, you know, there's no need to trim these fine roots off. You can. Some people really like to get into a root ball like this and go and get everything out that is dead. I don't bother, not just because I'm in inorganic media. If I were an organic media, I wouldn't bother that much either. I wouldn't even bother that much if I wasn't doing a live stream and trying to save you time. Because sometimes, especially with organic media, you are transporting from one pot to the other beneficial bacteria you may not be aware about. And there has been a harmony in the pot before. Of course, sorry about that. Of course, if your media isn't all gunky, broken down, but if you're dealing with bark and some sphagnum moss, just take some of the old stuff over into the new pot. It's all good. They say it makes the organic media degrade faster. I have not seen any studies that have actually gone and proved that. So when we speak of faster, that is also all relative. Does that mean that you have degraded media starting out straight away? Well, you have that if you're using sphagnum moss anyway. The moment sphagnum moss hits water, the degrading process starts. So if you're thinking about your orchid and being as gentle as possible when it comes to a repot, then think about your orchid. Be as gentle as possible when it comes to a repot. Don't worry about dead roots. They're not going to hurt. And you might actually be bringing over some great little stowaways that are super beneficial, and they can populate and colonize the new pot with the new media, making the whole process less invasive, for lack of a better term. So we've got new roots already covered by media. We've got new roots that have yet to come from this one. Peggy Ruth Carpenter, you're welcome. Now, I did have a tag. There we go. And I don't know what I did my tag with my wildcat, but Hakuna Matata. It'll find its way back into the pot eventually. Okie dokie. Simples. Fun times. Summertime. When repotting is easy. Lovely. I love it. Okay. And you know what? Let me tell you, if that spike aborts, okay? Maybe a question, repotting with a spike. If it aborts, it will not be because of the repot. It will be in my climate because suddenly my humidity may drop exponentially again. And with that comes bud blast. Now you can say, yes, a repot will also incur bud blast, but not when it's as gentle as this. That is not a stressful repot for any orchid. So, Hakuna Matata. Now let's check the water level, just to be 100% sure, because we don't have roots that high up in the pot, meaning, in my instance, my reservoir has to be a little bit higher. So in goes about 200 parts per million at this time of day, because this solution has been diluted over the course of the day as the orchids needed to be dealt with. 200 parts per million of CalMag. Now, if she doesn't grow, it wasn't me. She'll be fine. And what are we going to do next? Sit and have a chat? I could bring you something pretty to look at. And silly little birds bouncing around on my orchid leaves, even leaving some scratch marks. I mean, I love the little birdies, but Okay, we are going to, hang on a second, I'll be right with you. I wish I could bring you my Parkinsoniana, but I can't. That thing is an act of God to move that orchid. And then it's just a prayer to get her safe. We are going to look an oldie but goldie in the collection. Check this out. Inchy Birdie, she's back. Procatavola Golden Peacock. Also, before we gawk at the blooms, see these little things, these light marks? Yep, we had the same kind of tiny little scale. And you look, you feel actually. Woman, I have just dealt with you. But we have CalMag here, so you're going to get some. She is now seeming to be more thirsty than I can ever remember. Now there's a division of... Okay. We're going to give her a CalMag soak. I was a bit heavy-handed. She's soaking. Note to self. I have to remember that. I did another repot on her. Oh, no. Please, no. Oh, please. Hang on a second. What is that noise pollution? Let me know if you can hear that, because we can go to the blooming alley, at least get away from some of the periphery of what's going on. Somebody is using a drill. Richard Lawton is also having the same scale issues. I am so sorry to hear that. Hello, Orchid Ninja Bruce-san. Hola, ¿cómo estás, jefe? Hello, Fish and Tactics. It's good to see you. Very good to see you. I hope you're having a great day. Too much light on the Peggy? Yes, it is possible. You're 100% right. Like I said, the patio gets exponentially smaller when it comes to where do I put the orchids when they shouldn't be getting that much light. But the tips on my Peggy Ruth Carpenter, let me make sure I take you around there. There she is. The tips on my Peggy Ruth Carpenter, that's lack of humidity. But yes, she could be a little bit darker in her green, and she will darken up in the winter. Right now, I've got light, you're going to get light, but she's not getting direct sun. But of course, because she also had some scale, there was no way I'm putting her in the blooming alley, if you understand that. So there's been orchid shuffle going on the patio based on keeping all the other ones safe as best as possible. But this minute scale is a little bit of a pain in my derriere, I have to say. See that? That's recent as well. Yes, it's an old leaf, but that's recent. That wasn't there. Not over the winter, nothing. Oh, I can show you. Hang on a second. Maybe I can show you. Maybe you'll be able to see it. Look at this. Right here. Okay, a ver. Can you see this dot? Can you see that tiny dot right there in the center of that pale circle around it? Now, that pale circle comes so fast, as in lightning fast, that once you see it, you only notice that there is something there when you see the pale circle. That's how quickly they can react. So we'll just do a little bit of a spritz. It is astounding. It's annoying me to no end. And they do. Listen, since winter of 23, I've been really focusing on calcium nitrate to pull orchids through the stressful times. And I cannot go heavy, depending on the size of the orchid, as I would like because of my conditions. So the cuticle that is growing now, I mean, I don't have any salt buildup on this pot, just as an example as well. You over fertilize with not that high humidity, you're going to get salt buildup on the top of the pot very, very quickly. So if this orchid now gets 500 parts per million of just calcium nitrate, does that mean I should go up to 550 just to get the cuticle to grow even stronger? Mind you, you can only do so much with nutrients if you've got the right conditions and if you've got roots in the pot, which with the Incl, you could see there were barely any roots, and I've got a rescue piece. And you can see with the sweet sugar that we showed at the beginning, if there are no roots, what's the point of throwing a lot of nutrients at them? But in a weaker solution format, the Oncidium gets about 50, maybe sometimes 60 parts per million of whatever nutrient is going around the patio on the day as foliar feeding. That's how I can try and get nutrients into that orchid, including the seaweed. So there's a lot to think about when I look at this. I just think, yeah, I mean, you've had your calcium, you're doing great blooming. I've got 2 spikes, and then of course I've got a new growth here, and I've got this lead right here coming out with 4 new growths. The orchid's growing fine. Anyway, I'm happy she's back, because she was also divided. 50% was given away. And then these pieces here, it was one orchid, but to get her back into the same pot, I divided her and circled her in such a way that now she looks like one piece, but the rhizome's cut in 2 different places. Mingi questions. Mingi being a Swahili word for lots and lots. Mingi, Mingi. A little bit of Swahili thrown in there for you. That's your word for the day. Me encanta que estás aquí. Gracias, mi amor. Bruce son. Okay, Orchids by the Lake says, better than banana slugs. Oh, my word, yes. I suppose there's the yin and the yang of everything. Crazy Kitten Smile. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I never understood the parts per million thing. You bought a random CalMag from Amazon, but it's vague. How to use it. Okay. It's difficult to recommend parts per million based on color. I can do that. I can recommend seaweed based on color. If we can agree on what is the original color of the solution of seaweed as it comes out of the bottle, I can recommend parts per million as per the visual and the color of seaweed dosage. CalMag, it's a little bit different. So what does your manufacturer label say? And Cats, Crazy Kittens, and Smile, what does your manufacturer label say about dosing, quantity, concentration? And secondly, I've lost my second question that I had to you. Brand. What brand is it? If you can let me know those things, maybe I can point you in the right direction. Usually, manufacturer label for orchids, drop it and go by 1/8 of a teaspoon for a gallon of water. I'm converting into US. If you're not in the US, please tell me where you're at and I'll go metric. So we always have a 12, I'd like to say 10 to 13 second delay. I'm going to go with 12 to 15 second delay, simply because I am restreaming through a software that is not directly connected, so everything takes time. Vitalink CalMag, so you are in the UK? Please, and if you have told me this before and I have forgotten, then I am very sorry. Because I know Vitalink CalMag, and it comes out like it's a very dark, chocolatey, like molasses color. It says 1 milliliter, but it only has 10 milliliters. Yes, you're in the UK. Okay, good stuff, kitten. Okay, it says 1 milliliter. No, you want to go half a milliliter. Yeah. If you can get yourself like a little stopper, a little pipette droplet thing, maybe eardrops or other kind of little suction cup droplet from a health store that sells some kind of, I don't know, tinctures where you put little drops into your water. You want to have half a milliliter. And you put that into, I don't know how much are you trying to mix up? First of all, how much water are you trying to mix up? 1 liter, 5 liters. The TDS meter? Yeah, but if Crazy Kitten Smile is not accustomed to parts per million, this is not the time to be talking through parts per million, because it's going to really, really confuse and sound very discouraging. I've got some videos where I talk about it. If you would like to check the Orchid Lingo playlist, or Crazy Kitten Smile, even after this live stream has been processed and is public again, or any other video, leave me a comment and I will link you to, the TDS and pH meter, if that is what you choose to do. But for now, let me just see how much quantity of water. Probably 1 liter. Oh, you're going to be absolutely fine with half a milliliter of your CalMag. All right. 1/8 in RO, or distilled, not necessarily tap water. 1/8 of a teaspoon, yes. Denise, also from the UK. Hey girl, hey. It's good to see you. Okay, I've got this wonderful blooming alley that is not as exposed to whoever is drilling a hole in the wall. So let's head back over there. Procatabola Golden Peacock, it was a pleasure. Oh, I need to show you something as well. Oh, we're going to have to feature this one. One moment, please. Hold, please. Check this out. Look at this. I still say she's my Banda No ID. I thought we weren't going to have that beautiful of a show because she was working on so many fans at the beginning of the season. I thought, let her work on the fans. We're not going to get that many spikes. I have 19 spikes. 19. They haven't all bloomed out, but oh boy, 19 spikes. And I don't think I lost count because I went around and searched for the tips of every spike and every fan that still has spikes growing out of it. And I came to the grand total of 19. Isn't that insane? Oh, I love her so much and she smells so good. Oh, honeysuckle. All righty, we are mobile. Oh, and look, check this out. Look, 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 look. Where are you? I saw you this morning. A ver, aquí. In the back, where my pseudobulbs were most shriveled when it came to my Senua. Here we have a new growth coming, and there's another new growth at the top there that's already somewhat maturing. You can see it maybe here. This one, the leaf is closed. She's coming back, and she's looking a lot more upright. She's not as exhausted looking at the moment. Yes, the pseudobulbs are still shriveled, but the other day there was a different visual about her. So whatever is going on behind her roots that I cannot see growing, she's coming back. She is. She may not bloom as beautifully for us. Why are you so short? She may not bloom as beautifully for us this coming winter, but stay tuned for 25, 26. Look at me moving around with a camera, not having any issues. I'm actually able to hold a thought without getting flustered. I'm even doing the left to right is right to left. I'm proud of myself. This is great. I'm just going to put my Myrmecophila thomsoniana out of the sun. Oh boy. I've got 5 new growths coming on my Coilostylus ciliaris, but even though she wasn't directly in the sun, some leaves have burned very, very badly just from the hot, dry air. Big shame, big shame. Anyway, it is important to know how hard your water is unless you use RO filtered water. Yes, that is true. But I'm guessing that in the UK, they are not dealing with what I'm dealing with down here in southern Spain. There are more rigorous norms and procedures in place. Wanda Shaw, hello. It's good to see you. Happy Saturday to you. Baby. Hello. Good morning, beautiful. I hope you've woken up with a beautiful, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to rock the Casbah Saturday kind of day. And that it's already treating you the way you should be treated. And we're going to straighten the screen out a little bit as well. Comme ça. She's gorgeous. So are you, baby. Oh, maybe. Hang on a second. I'm feeling bold. Hang on a second. Everything went so quickly today. It's cool. I love it. Can talk to you guys. Maybe. Okay, it's not, you may not be able to see it really well, but my Prismarta carpa is coming into bloom with her 3 spikes. 1, 2, and 3 going over yonder, there. So this orchid right now is giving me shingles. Just kidding. But it's growing 4 new growths already and in spike and is so thirsty. I dropped the ball that the pseudobulbs were shriveling. I hope that I've caught them on time. She's in a massive pot. She takes about 3 liters for her reservoir alone and has drunk that up days, and I didn't pay attention for 2 days. And yes, but anyway, we've only lost 1 bud on the Prismarta carpa, which is Coolio. And then, of course, it's a shame, but I can only show you like the back end, the back of my Parkinsoniana that hangs out here in the corner. 3 leads in bloom. So happy. She lives up there. So, like I said, it's an act of to get her down out of the reservoir to then flush her. And you know, with all the dangling leaves and I snapped last year's newest leaf off. Oh, that was so maddening. And I couldn't see what I was doing at one point. Are we going to be okay? Or do we have to reposition? I couldn't see what I was doing at one point, and I didn't know that I had caught the leaf. So, sans one leaf, but 3 leads in bloom. Anyway, this is amazing. I'm so emboldened by all of this. I'm looking around what else I can show you. We have so much to see, but anyway. And happy Saturday to you and your viewers. I'm going to hang out with you guys and learn more about my favorite genus. Well, there you go, Wanda. I hope that you can possibly go back and watch it on rewind before I private it, because we've had a lot of noise pollution, and sometimes the YouTube copyright system picks up whatever noise pollution as music, and then they will cancel the video out, as in there are copyright strikes. It's a whole thing. That's why I private it very quickly. Ciliano's doing great. Thank you for asking, Bruce, son. I wanted him in the jungle gym for us. He didn't comply. I was also trying to show him he's going to get a shower and everything. He would have none of it. So I had him outside 2 hours before the stream started. I guess he was just, fed up, tired, wanted his cage. So I had to put him in his cage, unfortunately. But he's fine. Thank you for asking. Bebe says, I'm getting an advert every 5 minutes. Huh. And I have not set it to that at all. Well, I'm glad if YouTube think it's important, but hang on a second. I have not set any ads, so that's not fair. You're jealous, Yoshi, because amethysts are expensive? Okay. I did not know that. I am so happy that she's doing well, though, considering that she is a warm to hot grower and she's in leca. And, well, no. It just took me a long time to get her to bloom, and now she's blooming on 2 leads, and I've got 2 new growths starting at the base with new roots. It's all kicking off right off with this orchid. It's awesome. Very, very pleased that she's doing so well. And Fernanda, I haven't replied to many comments. I saw your comment about the Pacavia. I told you, Hakuna Matata, okay? So whenever things happen as they happen, you have another piece here that I'm very, very happy to pass on to you if you would like to try again. Because my Pacavia is going mad, both of them. The only thing is, separating them is going to be, I'm not doing that on a live stream because I won't be talking. I will just be quietly trying to separate them. That's the only thing. So I'm not going to dig into it this season. If you don't mind, if you can hold on, I'm going to build up my courage for next season, when I'm hoping that by that time, all the roots in the pot will be super healthy and she's great. She'll be ready to send. If you are interested, I know it is very discouraging to lose an orchid, to get a replacement and be in fear of losing her again. I get it. Been there, done that many times. Speaking of which, quick update. Based on the video I posted about the Shambles live stream, the Longips crossed the Millery, the other way around, the Millery crossed with Longips will eventually be on the patio again. I bit the bullet. I checked the lint in the sofa. I found some pennies, and besides, I needed some more fertilizer. So Michael told me where to find her. And she has the most beautiful name I wasn't aware of. So thank you very much, Michael McCarthy. The actual name of the Millery crossed with Longips is Andean Moon. Isn't that a pretty name? I love it. So when you, just to let you know, Fernanda, Hakuna Matata, okay? But we're going to send you something strong, so it'll be roots this season, and then we're going to stress her out and do roots for next season, then you get her, okay? Pasa un buen fin de semana. Off to the links. Hasta luego, amigo mío, Bruce Sun. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for coming around. And again, may your putter be hot. It worked the last time. Why not do it again? Okie dokie. So, oh my goodness, I could stand here and chat all day long. But what's the point if I mean, what's the point when I'm looking for questions, but everybody seems to just be having a great time? And the fact that this stream is going so well, I'm so happy. We're going to do it all again next week. Like I said, if you have any suggestions for me, always feel free in any video to leave me a comment. I have no idea what we're going to do next week. I'll figure something out, even if it's just a coffee and a chat. But then I will want a lot of questions in a community post. We shall see. All that remains to be dealt with next season. Oh, can I just show you something else? Next season? Next week. This. Forgetfulness. We've been there, we've done that. We did a video about what? My loose neary is poking my ear with a root. I'm like, wow. This is my Krista Erdmann. Look at this new growth here. Isn't she beautiful? Look at the size of it. Ooh la la. I love this so much. Growing roots right now. But this is, delicious. Nom, nom, nom. But she's not done there. And she's got another one coming right here. Look at that. Fantastic. We're going to have to sell some sensational, very short-lived blooms next year. If I can keep all the spikes I'm hoping she will produce safe. Anyway, gonna love and leave you. I will love you until whenever I see you. But leaving you for now from southern Spain, wishing you a fabulous rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here. And if you wouldn't mind on the way out, just give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube really takes it seriously. Important stream, lots of ads. Oh dear. The nerves, if I ever come out of shadow banning, the nerves. Anyway, thanks so much for joining. Have yourself a beautiful day. On the condition, though, please, that you stay safe. Take care. Bye.